Hey y'all, welcome back. Matthew here, and thank you so much for checking out the video. Today we're going to be fixing one of my old Fenders, and that's this one right here. It's a 1968 Fender Vibratone, and these are really cool. It's basically a Leslie cabinet for the guitar, and Fender built these in the late 1960s. They didn't make very many of them. They weren't hugely popular, so they're kind of rare and hard to find, but a lot of players did use them, especially in the studio. One of my favorites, Stevie Ray Vaughan, notably used the Fender Vibratone. So this one is all original and it needs a little bit of work. The speaker is blown, so I'm going to swap a new speaker in there, and I'll show you guys that whole process. And then I really can't wait to try this thing out and see how it sounds. So that's the plan for today. I'll show you guys what we're gonna need over here on the couch. This is where I make all my videos, right? We've got the new speaker. This is an Eminence Legend, and these are great, pretty, reasonably priced speakers and higher wattage, which is what I was looking for. And then we've got some cloth covered wire and a Switchcraft jack, because we're going to bypass this right here, which is the original crossover, and it basically filters out different frequencies, kind of like an organ would do, I suppose, but I'm probably just going to sell that on Reverb because I'm not going to use it. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig into this thing and see what we find. All right, so these are actually kind of a pain to work on because of the design. The whole mechanism has to come out the front before you can get to the back side where the speaker is installed. So we first have to remove the front baffle here. There's 6 screws on each side, and then we'll get to the rotating cone, which is what gives you that Leslie sound. Flathead screwdriver to pry the front baffle off. And these can get really brittle over the years, so you want to be careful with that. All right. Here's the back side. As you can see, it's like a particle board. These will really degrade over the years. All right, so these are actually pretty simple. This is the rotating cone, and it's got a cutout on this side, which will send the sound out of these grills that you'll find on the outside. And this is the motor down here, which these are kind of finicky, to be honest, and they do need a lot of adjustment before you can get them just right. And then down here, we have some documentation showing the Leslie Tremolo Unit Model 16. Let's check out this thing, see what it says. Basically, it gives you some information on the unit and how to make adjustments, belt replacement, tire replacement, adjustment of small motor. So that's really cool that that's survived after all these years. Now, like I was saying, this whole mechanism has to come out the front before we can get to the speaker on the other side. There's no access from the other side. So let me go ahead and pull this thing out of here, and we'll see what we got. Now, the best case scenario here is to remove the screws on the inside of this panel. You can see them there. I think there's 6, one at the bottom as well. And hopefully we can just do that, and then we can pull that whole assembly out and get to the speaker on the other side. So I tried to be very careful with this. I didn't want to damage the ancient paper that was down there, but here you go. This is finally the blown speaker. You can see how it's wired up here. This travels down to a plug, which plugs into the control box on the back, and then that would send your signal through the crossover, which we're going to bypass. I'll show you that in just a moment here. And if we take a look at the speaker here, I'm not sure what brand it is. Based on the basket alone, I'm thinking maybe like an Oxford or something. But as far as the date code goes, it's 328802. I'm not sure what week that is, but I'm pretty confident that means 1968. So let's go ahead and remove the speaker, and we'll wire it up to bypass the crossover. And also, there was a little surprise back here. There's a dime from what looks like maybe 1967. The coin collectors out there will be able to let us know if this is a silver dime. I'm not sure. Maybe I made back a little bit of my investment here. I've got my speaker wired up here and ready to go. Really simple wiring on these. You've got your negative and positive wires going to a Switchcraft jack, much like you would find in your guitar. And the Eminence Legend speaker is rated at about 70 to 75 watts, I think, which should have me covered if I'm using a Super Reverb or something like that to run through the cabinet. Now, some guys will modify these and put a 12-inch speaker in here, but as you can tell by the Baffle, you really need to do some cutting, and it's just not worth it to me to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap this in there and throw it back together, and we'll see if it works. All right, so I got this thing put back together, and I want to go ahead and plug it in and test it, make sure it still works, and then we'll run one of my Fender amps through it and see how it sounds. Let's give it a test and make sure this whole thing still works. Looks like it does. And it's operating really quietly. I don't think I'm gonna have to make any adjustments to the pulley or the motor. Now, one thing I forgot about, the crossover does have a foot switch with it, and this allows you to select the high and the low speed. So I wanna test that out real quick and make sure that still works. All right, so immediately it went to the slow speed here, as you can see. And now that's back to the fast speed. I think you can modify the control box in the back to maybe have a toggle switch between fast or slow, and really I only use the slow speed, so that's one reason to keep this crossover, but I might find a workaround in the future. So let's go ahead and throw the Baffle back on, and then I'll plug in my Super Reverb or maybe my Dual Showman Reverb, and we'll see how this thing sounds. So I've got a Royer 121 on that side and a 57 here, and then I've got a Coles and a SM7B as the stereo room mics. All right, I'll show you guys real quick here the rat's nest going on in the back. But there's the control box at the back of the Vibratone here with your on and off switch. You've got a fuse, pilot light. This is the crossover cable that basically is just the foot switch now, because we've got my speaker wire coming down with the 1/4 inch. And like I said, I just have got this hanging here for now. I might find a permanent fix later. And then here is the amp that I'm going to be running, my 1969 Dual Showman Reverb, one of the greatest amps ever made. And yeah, we'll see how it sounds. Oh yeah, can't forget about the Strat for the day, 1959. All right, guys, final word here from me. Thank you so much for watching and always supporting my videos here on YouTube. If you want to continue to do that, like and comment on the video. That's really the best thing you can do. I want to hear from you guys and see what you thought of the sound of the 1968 Vibratone. To me, I mean, you know, you can't replicate that. That's the real deal, man. And it sounds amazing. I got a little carried away, honestly. I was just feeling it. It sounded so good. And yeah, I love it. It's not something that you want to use all the time. It's probably not something that you'll bring out to the show. But I have some friends that do it, and maybe I will someday if I have the crew to help me lug this stuff around. But yeah, it sounds just incredible in the room. Trying to mix it though is really difficult. I was using 4 mics like I showed you. And if you really pan these things hard left and right and just listen to that alone, it's so trippy. It kind of makes you seasick because the sound is literally just going from one ear to the next. If you have headphones on, obviously that's kind of amplified, but in a mixed setting in a song, that kind of gets mixed in a little bit, but when you're just listening to a guitar doing that. So I lessened the amount of pan in the close mics. I think the room mics are still hard pan left and right, but I think it sounded really, really cool, and I hope to hear from you guys in the comment section as to what you think. If you liked this style of video, I actually really had fun making it, so I'll probably do more hands-on stuff like this coming in the future. So, all right, guys, I don't know how many more videos I'll do before the end of the year, but if I don't make another one, then happy holidays, happy new year. Let's bring on 2022. This is going to be a good one. Peace.